again, we are happy to be back on the program, The Bottom Line. And The Bottom Line is a program that discusses issues about Liberia, Liberians, and both at home and in the diaspora. And as usual, I have with me Mr. Paul Churuple, and Paul and I will be here this evening to try to see uh, how much information we can provide and how much discussions we can have on on the show. And we have a special guest uh, panelist tonight, and we will be bringing him on, um, and he will introduce himself and tell us what he does and where he lives, and just all about himself. And I think together tonight we'll be discussing a lot of good things. So we let us say welcome to the bottom line. And Paul, um, you want to just start off with us, and I don't know how you want to start tonight. I'm tired of talking about this weather because this weather thing. I think every time we talk about it, something else will happen. Can you imagine yesterday? I mean, the amount of snowfall we had. I was like, what? And it was terrible.
Well, first of all, I want to say good evening to you and good evening to our listening audience. And also, I want to say welcome to my brother Prince Taylor, who live in Sheffield in the UK. It's good to see you on the show. This is Portland, Liberia, where we discuss issue and it's opinionated. Sometimes we get to the nitty gritty of certain issue when we do our research. Welcome on board. And before you introduce yourself, yesterday something dramatic happened.
Hmm.
That the weather it became really nice, and then this morning when I woke up, they were all icy on the car. So you wonder what's happening from a very nice weather to a kind of frozen winter weather. So yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah,
Anyway, welcome, Prince. It's good to have you. Introduce yourself to Bottom Line and our audience. You
uh,
muted.
I, I think Prince is muted. Prince, if you just look on your screen, right under your picture there, you'll see the microphone. I don't know why you're not audible,
Okay,
but you hear.
unmute.
I don't see that he's muted. I don't see it. He's not
Yeah.
muted, but something is wrong.
So he might get out and come back in again. The
Okay,
audio.
Prince, if you just remove yourself and come back in, because if I remove you, you have to log in all over. But check your microphone. Okay. But we hope Prince gets back, and it's good to have him, as usual. When we have new appearances on the show, it makes it more interesting. Uh, because everybody that appears here brings a new idea and discourse to the discourse. But Paul, tonight on our plate we have a lot of things that we'll be discussing, and among things that we will be discussing. Uh, but let's just try to get Prince audio straight here. Prince, I don't know what device you're using. Are you using mobile phone?
Still struggling to hear him.
Well, okay, now I see that. Okay, unmute. Let me unmute you. Unmute yourself because I can unmute you. Okay, try and talk.
Still
I
not
don't know.
hearing you.
I don't know. If you're using computer, try to go to the setting of your computer, the volume setting, and try to see. Um, but I mean, hopefully, Prince will make it. But let's move ahead, Paul. I was asking if there is any new thing happening in the news, but we got a lot of things to. And first of all, the things that we'll be discussing tonight is what seems to be the lingering sanctions to be placed. I mean, it seems to be. I'm not saying it is. It's not definite yet, but it seems to be most likely lingering sanctions, something lingering, something hanging over us as a nation, not a nation per se, but our leadership, uh, um, with reference to the recent statement by the U.S. ambassador to Liberia, Mr. McCarthy. And Paul, if anything like that will happen, do you think it will help to curtail or deter or minimize? I mean, I don't know what word to use, because the corruption is rampant. So those are the things we'll be discussing tonight, and we'll also be looking at some of the issues that are making news. We understand in a case against Mr. Cummings, there are some developments where the ANC has written a letter, or formal communication, and we'll be looking at that as well. And we'll also be looking at some of the local dailies, newspapers in Liberia, just the headlines, because we cannot open them to read here. So we'll just look at the headline and see what we see there and what we can discuss as a group here. So if you get joining, let us say welcome once again. This is the bottom line. My name is Lim from is there in the UK along with Prince Taylor. Though Prince is appearing for the first time, and he seems to be having some problem with his audio, and we hope that can be sorted out pretty soon. But for those of you just joining us, please share the video. Make sure that you share it to your friends, and let your friends share it as well, and invite them as well. And you can follow us. You can follow us on Twitter, or not Twitter, sorry, on Facebook. We have 2 Facebook pages. We got the bottom line Liberia, then we got the bottom line. Okay, and you can also follow us on YouTube, and we have the same handle name, the bottom line. So you can find us all over the place. Let me see.
I think it's me. I'll try and Prince. His phone ringing, so we can hear the phone ringing from his end. Frank, can you talk to so we can hear you?
He is actually talking, but it is a bit strange that we cannot hear him. I don't know what the setting there is. From my end, because since I'm the moderator, from my end, I got different screens, so I don't know what you got there, Paul. But Paul, let me just ask you a few technical questions right here. On your screen, do you see setting anywhere like setting?
Yeah, I see setting here.
Okay, so Prince should be able to see settings as well. Prince, if you see settings, you can click on it, that round circle. You click on it, then it will open new page, and you see settings up there. You see general, you see camera, you see audio. So if you click on that audio, I think it will tell you to do something. But while Prince is going through that,
continue. Let me call him and then take it through. You continue the topic. I'll be back.
Okay. And so let me just drop that in the background. Okay. But like I was saying, tonight we'll be discussing a host of issues, and we have a letter here, a communication from the Alternative National Congress, that's the ANC, and it's addressed. It's like a press release. It's a press release actually, and we'll be doing our best to go through it. Though it is very difficult to read these little things from the cell phone. So we have to maximize it and minimize it at certain point just to be able to follow through all of the paragraphs. But it will be interesting tonight, and be our guest, and stay tuned. And
can you hear me, Prince?
Prince is actually talking now, but I don't know if I heard him. Okay, Prince and Paul will take care of that. But I will play you some jingles while we await Prince and Paul to sort things out. Okay, again, I say welcome to the bottom line, Liberia. My name is Linford Goer, and probably in the course of the program, we might be joined by Antrik Jalo there from Belgium, We actually four on this program is me, Paul, Antrick, and Chima. But we got time difference, and we got some little, extra things to do. So people will pop in, and let's see if Prince hears us, but we do not hear him. But Paul, I think our Prince is working very hard in the background. Seeing, do you hear me, Prince? Yeah, he hears us very very well, but we cannot hear him. Something is wrong somewhere. But Prince, be working, be working. You get it.
Let flow with the conversation while he
Yeah.
trying to
Okay.
sort it.
Like
Be
like
good
I
to
was
have you.
saying,
Yeah.
Paul. First of all, let's start with this press release from the ANC. I don't know if you ever lay eye on that release today.
Well, I think I had a glance at it when I on my way from work,
Hmm.
and it was the lawyers that I think subpoena or to the sitting court judge
Hmm.
that the prosecutor extracted very important information from I think there was a lot of discussion that went back and forth in chat rooms. There
Hmm.
were two different chat rooms created. Ben and I did create a chat room 2019, and when Mr. Cummings took the leadership, he created another chat room. And all of the information, because they were doing chat in the chat room, they have put a lot of information in the chat room.
Hmm.
So the lawyers, the prosecutors have copies of those chat room messages. Now,
Uh-huh.
what they extracted key elements in from the chat room to present it like Mr. Comey is the guilty partner here. So the lawyers now subpoenaing that making a case that the case now need to be dismissed because you cannot criminate yourself as a prosecutor. You're supposed to be going to get evidence to prosecute someone, but you cannot take vital information from there just to criminalize somebody for nothing. I think that's what the press statement is saying.
Okay. Okay, Prince or Tom, I think I heard you now.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
finally.
what you do,
I
lower
think
lower the
okay.
volume of whatever you're
Yeah,
listening to.
I think I'll have to cut this off. I know what happened, and I'll go back on my laptop. I think I'll
Okay.
use
Yeah. So you just
uh
lower the
yeah.
volume of that laptop so that you will not have a feedback.
Yes.
You hear me now? Oh well, he will be coming at least.
He'll
He
work
has
it
to
out.
sit down. But
Anyway,
Paul, thanks for the brief info there. We have the communications here, and we'll try our best to read it. When I mean try our best, it's difficult to read from these small gadgets. So what I will do is I will try to read it very slowly and carefully. And please, our audience, do not be bored and do not say we are counting words. And we are not counting words, but it's difficult to read these things, you know. But it says here, uh, Office of the National Secretary General, and for immediate release, Monrovia, Liberia, March 18, 2022, reads, lawyers representing leading opposition politician of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Alexander B. Cummings, have today filed a formal complaint to Statutory Magistrate Joe Machala of the Monrovia City Court against the state prosecution led by Solicitor General Sima Cyrinus Cephas for prosecutorial misconduct. Mr. Cummings' lawyers have discovered during cross-examination of all Liberia Party ALP, that is, and National Chairman Theodore Momo, that state prosecutors aided by ALP's political leader Benona Ure have criminally extracted several pieces of evidence establishing the innocence of and uh, exonerating Mr. Cummings and his confidence from WhatsApp messages reported or exported from the collaborating political parties CPP National Advisory Committee chat room they presented to the court and Mr. Cummings' lawyers as a part of discovery record submission. Now, uh, sorry for the slow reading, so it may be a bit difficult for you to understand what I'm trying to say. But what in short, what it's saying is exactly what Paul said. The ANC lawyers are saying that they have discovered that while the cross examinations were going on for both Mr. Cummings and all the ANC and the ALP, they discovered that in the national uh, in their national advisory committee chat room of the CPP, they were able to discover that the people had taken some vital informations, and those informations could or they have those informations have the propensity to exonerate or to dismiss the case against Mr. Cummings. But Mr. Ure and other people who filed this case have gone to work and in those documents extracted some information, those vital informations. So let's see what the second paragraph says here. It says the international no the intentional omission of any piece of evidence that speaks to the innocence of the accused amounts to misconduct on the part of the prosecution. And the thing is that Serena Silva was involved in that extraction of the information. And Serena Silva, as we all know, is the what? The state prosecutor representing the state and prosecuting Mr. Cummings. And so they are saying that any involvement of such person like Serena Silva, who is prosecuting Mr. Cummings in the extraction of any important document, is tantamount or equal to what? Prosecutorial misconduct. In all criminal matters, the state prosecution is duty bound or has a legal obligation to submit to the accused all the species of evidence the state has in its possession related to the allegations, and this includes evidence of inculpatory and exculpatory nature. Now, the ANC further went on to say that in any investigation as such, the prosecutor, the person who is prosecuting this case, who happens now to be Serena Silva, is duty bound, is under obligation to present to the accused any information relevant, related, and important to the case. Okay, instead of extracting it and keeping it for what purpose, nobody knows. Okay, let's continue. Please forgive me for the poor quality of reading. The state's obligation is constitutional under the due process clause. In a famous case, Brady versus Maryland, that Maryland County, or Maryland in the US, 373 US 83, 1983. The United States Supreme Court ruled that the prosecution has a constitutional duty of due process to disclose material evidence favorable to a defendant. Any attempt by the prosecution to intentionally omit any piece of evidence that is of an exculpatory nature or that seeks to exonerate the accused amounts to what? Material misconduct or ethical transgression. Now, in this piece of document, they cited a case that was conducted in the state of Maryland, and they said that in that case, the U.S. Supreme Court, I mean, highest court, the Supreme Court, as we all know, the Supreme Court of the U.S. is the highest court. That court ruled that any information that is relevant to the case in the favor of the defendant should be presented to the defendant. The same way, if you, I mean, and they're paraphrasing, the same way if you got any information that is important to indict the defendant, you got to present it. You are also under duty to present any information that is within it, that is related to the case, that is supposed to exonerate when they talk about expository. Let me get our word straight so I can misuse it.
Right. So Linfa, I think it's clear, because what happened here is just simple. This guy had a chat room, and the prosecutor have all the information from the two chat rooms, because the CPP have different body. They have the advisory council, and then they have another group. So then they have the leadership. So they have, all of them have chat room that they all share information. So the information from that chat room, from both chat room, the prosecutor have because the lawyers ask, where are the evidence you got against my clients? And he provided those details from the chat room. Now, during the cross-examination today, they found out that factual information was extracted from those chat rooms, just to make it look like Mr. Cummings is the guilty person here. So they got rid of those information. So if you being the prosecutor, if somebody came to you, say, look, or a reporter says, Jamal stole from me, and you're the prosecutor, so you cannot go to incriminate me. I gave you the evidence why he stole, and you need to present it to the other lawyers. And in the case, they extracted information to prosecute somebody that they have nothing against. So that's why the lawyers now they should dismiss this. They said the case.
Okay. Anyway, but to make long matter short,
Prince.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Do you hear me? Okay.
Very well.
Yeah,
So
that's fine.
To the public, this is a new development in the case. So we will wait for this. I'm sure this document was this release was probably communicated into formal writing, according to what it said here, and presented
because
to
what the lawyers wrote they filed a complaint with the judge, and the judge accepted. So the judge going to investigate at some point, then we'll call them in, because the case going nowhere.
No, we can't. You can't be. We can't be the one to say the case going nowhere.
No,
so let me
we all know the case is no case. So we all know that. So what the government is doing, that's where it's ensuring there's no case. Anyway, let's welcome Prince. And Prince, welcome on Bottom Line. It's good to have you for the first time. Introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you very much for having me, Paul, and my colleague there. My name is Prince Taylor. I am the former president of the Union of Liberians in the United Kingdom. I live in Sheffield. I work within the telecom sector. I have keen interest in Liberian politics and have been following with keen interest developments that have continued to unfold, reference, a range of other developments, of course, within the political affairs when it comes to what Honorable Alexander Kwame Boakai, the president, we are, and just what's happening, across the country. To a greater extent, is this happening that we see our country, in the direction that we are at the moment, because clearly there's so much to be done. We believe our people are going through a huge situation at the moment. For focus to be on that, you got, issues that are actually not directly impacting these people on there because of their own political gain. So for me, it's key that maybe government or even the opposition or whoever wants to run for president or so should begin to redirect their energy into what will be useful for our people in Liberia instead.
Good.
Good.
I listened to you. You said you've been a former president of the Liberian Association in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the status of that group right now?
Well, the group is still active. There are there is other leadership. I think it's right now under one Mohammed Sunni. They got their team. I think it's set for another AGM. So hopefully a new code of officers to take on. But we served in that capacity for over 6 years, just a little over 2 terms. I left right after the Ebola crisis. I was involved with efforts in raising. We were among one of the diaspora, amongst the first diaspora communities to have sent support to Liberia during the heat of the Ebola crisis. So after that, I stepped down. We had Evelyn Dukdishiu who took over. Dave just left, and then you have Mohammed who's now taking over. I took immediately over from John Nimle Branel.
Okay. There's a reason why I asked that question.
Yeah.
So that people, the listeners, will know that the Prince Taylor we're talking to is not new to politics. Because I know even if you lead a group of two,
yeah.
Yeah. But let's get down to the main topics, some of the main topics we have here tonight. That is, we all listen to what the U.S. ambassador, Mr. McCarthy, said recently during the celebration of the J.J. Roberts' birthday. And in that statement, there is something that seems to be like sanctions that will or that may hit people who are suspected, government officials who are suspected to be linked to anything like corruption. But
what
the biggest question here that I want to throw out is if at all there will be any sanctions on anybody in the government, do you think it has any effect? Can it really deter, minimize, prevent, eradicate? I mean, just you tell me, give it any description. What we call corruption in Liberia?
Well, whenever there is a need for sanctions, especially on individuals, there will be sufficient evidence to validate that sanction. And let us, not be fools that people are watching us. People are watching who those that are in leadership in Liberia. People know what individuals had when some of them went into politics and what they've acquired now over a few years. And not only acquiring specific wealth for themselves, but how they are leading within the Liberian, society right now. So clearly, if the West wants to impose any form of sanction, they will have sufficient evidence for those individuals concerned. Everyone knows, it's not a hidden secret. People in Liberia and outside of Liberia know that our country is right now at its darkest moment in our history. We all can say, well, we have 15, 16 years of civil conflict, and maybe that's the reason why we are where we are, but that's not true. There are other countries, there are other examples, like Rwanda, for example. They fought, terrible war. Today, surprisingly, we are even sending students to Rwanda on scholarship to have them to go to school. We don't have the fitting system anywhere that I can see, that I know of in Liberia, which is a shame. And so clearly, people who are responsible for these, and I can assure you, will pay for it.
Paul?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to concur with Prince here. I think there are few individuals already been picked up in Liberia. Fanny Shema, Prince Johnson. So Fanny Sherman and some of those guys, they also have access in America. Remember, most of them, they have their family in America. They live in good life over there. So when they pick up individual within government, they have effect on them. That means you're traveling. If you have huge money sitting down somewhere in the West, it could be seized. So that could have effect on the other thing. They just giving them a serious warning that look, put your act together and stop what you're doing. Remember, we have a populist government that in place that came on the mantra that from the grassroots. So if you come from Sunnyvale or Jonathan or wherever West Point, you saw somebody from your end coming into power. And then the person came, decided to do the same thing, the Tobals, the Doles, they go back in history, whoever before those people did. And that's what they're telling them. You cannot be the one from that grassroots and doing what you're doing today. They said the mayor, for example, he was in a Zine house. Today he live in a mansion. I mean, for Christ's sake. So when they put sanction, then sometimes it will help. They're just telling them stop the stealing. That's all. Basically, stop the stealing.
Or do you think of mere sanctions? I mean, the
There will
guys.
be a sanction if they continue.
Yeah, but let me ask this one.
Yeah.
On mere sanctions, say travel ban, or you do not have free movement out of the country. But the guys, the person, nobody's accused yet, outrightly. But let's say the person has already stolen the money, right? They got all the money, probably share our money, our family members in different bank accounts, and then you tell the man not to travel. The man will still live in Liberia and live like king. The man will still get the money. So do you think a mere sanction is sufficient, or should they go somewhere beyond the land, like probably seizing assets, if actually
Well,
things are pointed to you for being corrupt?
yeah. Well, let's face the fact. We shouldn't have to wait to be sanctioned. We shouldn't have leaders who are waiting to be sanctioned and actually clearly go into leadership role with a mindset of enslaving our people, stealing from them. We should go into positions ready to serve, go with that mindset. And we shouldn't be talking today about, they should sanction individuals. And I think Liberia is an interesting country, being honest with you, because you notice during Charles time, Liberian people say, well, you killed my mom, you killed my pa, we'll vote for you.
Yeah.
King George, they say, you know both, we'll vote for you. Today, in fact, I was listening to a voice of Liberia. This guy was carrying out one Sharif, right? He was carrying out some survey. So from that survey, it clearly tells you that majority of the young people, especially those that are selling on the streets corners, are thinking about President Weah. Now, even though people didn't give reason why they wanted to re-elect President Weah, but it still tells you that the ordinary people are still thinking about voting President Weah because they naturally like him. I'm not sure they want him into power because he's done anything specific from that survey that I listened to, analyzing what people were saying. So clearly, it should behoove our leaders to say, well, you know what, our people, even in the midst of this poverty, the level of poverty they're going through, whatever difficult time, they still care for us. We should be there for them. But it's disappointing to know that some of our leaders, and especially maybe the president, should be able to take responsibility for that, to say, look, we need to move Liberia at a different point. But it's shameful that, yes, the ordinary people want President Weah, but no school, no education, no system. Right now, you go to Liberia, I haven't seen any curriculum that they are working on. Kids are coming up from kindergarten. That whole generation is lost. They don't even know if they ever have an opportunity to go to school or go to university. And that should be the primary objective of any government, to think about the people's health.
The brand new question here is, in case anybody in the government is pointed out to be corrupt, and established, should they just have sanction on him, or should they seize properties? That's the question.
They should be able to seize their property, but do they have the power to do that? No. To be able to seize property of corrupt individuals, we'll have to pray to have a government that is accountable to the people, and a government that will be able to set a good example. And with that authority through the courts, can say, well, if they can prove that an individual is corrupt, to be able to, seize or freeze their assets. But until it's proven, or until there are legal, guidelines to be able to lead them to doing that, even if they sanction an individual, you can't just go and say, well, I'll seize their property. So you have to have some legal grounds and some proof, some evidence. And so it's a long road, I'll tell you. But if we have a government in place that is going to be accountable to the people, so clearly these things, and that's why I'm saying, this is where I'm coming from, to say, well, you don't have to wait to be sanctioned before they say, oh, the man is corrupt. Clearly everybody are looking. People should go into public service or to serve their people with clear conscience, with a plan to help, and not to go and enrich themselves. Today you got elections coming. People are just waiting. They'll buy rice, they'll buy stuff, they'll give people. Right after election, they say nobody care about those people. Nobody got any plan for them. So that's my position. Yes, they should be able to seize assets. That's the answer to your question. But do they have the teeth to bite? No. I haven't seen any laws that are on the books to say, well, they'll be able to go after an individual after they leave power, to say, well, they'll seize your asset because you are corrupt, because almost everyone is corrupt.
I think what they can do, what they'll do, because the thing is, this warning have been in the air for a while now. They've been seeing it. They're not shy away with this sanction business. It's been going for over a year. They've been seeing it. So what happened is, most of those guys that steal money from Liberia, they don't bank in Liberia. They bank in a Western bank. Remember, Samuel Dalton, they have money in Swiss Bank. It left there. This guy bank overseas. So when they put sanction on you, they seize your access. I mean, not only America, they find you won't be coming to Europe as well. So they seize your asset in a way you're stuck in a situation. And then because it's election time, say for example, and they say, well, George, sanctions have been put on the president. What does that, what kind of message that is sending to the voters? That, yeah, this guy you put in, he's corrupt. So they're telling the voter in reality, this man is corrupt. That's what they will do. So they're giving them warning, stop doing what you're doing now, live to the expectation of the people that voted you in. That's why they're giving a serious warning.
Yeah, but Prince raised a very important issue. He said there are no laws on the book that can that gives people right to go after corrupt people, especially when they are left power. I don't know. Maybe I think I have a different.
No, it's not about leaving power when they put sanction on you. Yeah. You don't have to leave power before. Now they put sanction on you. They tell you, say, if you get traders or dollar in Swiss bank, they will freeze. Say you can't get hold of it.
Paul, where I'm coming from with that. Okay, where I'm coming from with that. We have a unique system, which is actually meant for check and balance. Mm-hmm. You have three branches of government: the legislative, the executive, and the judiciary. Mm-hmm. Disappointingly, our legislators today are all beggars. These are guys that should be able to set the agenda, or to be able to hold the executive to account, and let the judiciary prosecute. But what are these people doing? Everybody goes to the House of Representatives or Senate. They all following what the president said. The president wants anything done, send them envelopes, and everybody agree and just follow suit. So this is a difficult situation. That's where we are, because clearly we shouldn't be waiting, like I said, for sanction to be coming. If we have honest people who actually care about their constituents, people who actually representing the interests of the people in the House, both houses, the lower and upper houses. These are issues that should be clearly set, because they will be living by a good example. But from what I learned, from what I understood, not many of these people, very few amongst the lawmakers even visit their constituent. Right after election, they're gone. They only drive past through their constituency. They don't even speak to their own people. When they come back, they give money and get re-elected. So they're not holding the government to account. There's no way to be able to say, well, these are things that are wrong. These are policy. These are legislations that we can follow. If you do X, Y, Z, because they're against our people, you face the full weight of the law. So that's a difficult thing we face with. And that's why I'm coming to say, well, what are the rules? Because clearly you look from generations unborn. Do you have any history? It was interesting to have seen that they have Brani Samukai to quote about, you know, money that he didn't give for the AFL and what have you. But if you look at that, because I think that has some political motivation for a particular individual. Otherwise, nobody will be bothered. Because clearly there are many, many other people who are going with impunity, doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're not really serving the interests of the public.
Yeah, but this time around,
yeah,
it's a different scenario. The warning or the clear handwritings on the wall are coming from the group that will run to in terms of any problems, financial problems, or social problems, whatever. The group that will run to. And these people, no Liberian formally took any complaint to the U.S. embassy to say, oh, you know, and our people are corrupt, or you know, they carry on corruption. But the U.S. embassy voluntarily, and after observing, according to what Mr. McCarthy said, the Ambassador McCarthy said, that they have been observing, okay, and they came off voluntarily to say, so what if fingers are pointed to people, individuals who are indeed corrupt, and that record can be established? Don't you think the U.S., being the greater financier of the Liberian government, can take the Liberian government or the people involved to task and even encourage the judicial system in Liberia to go after them to get their assets frozen and seized if possible?
Yeah, but these very people that work within the judiciary are part of the government. So if you talk about the corruption,
what I mean, Prince, what happened here is, the U.S. government have done it to Vanny Sherman lately.
Yeah,
and they did it to Prince Johnson lately. So
that's just sanctions, though.
That's what I'm saying. They did it to them lately. So they're now telling me, they're telling the other group that we can come after you again. Just get your act together. So the warning is there. We done it before, we'll do it again.
Yeah. You know, I listened to there is this promotional video from Mr. Cummings where he said that if he becomes president and he will fight against corruption, and he clearly said he will set up a corruption czar, a minister or ministry that will be responsible to track down corrupt people. And if fingers are pointed at you, they will go after you, and you will not only be made, or you'll not only be suspended or dismissed, but you'll be made to restitute what you have taken. You see, so because the state needs that funds, okay, that money that you have stolen, the state needs to buy. But we
have the Good Governance Commission, for example. That commission is actually meant to be able to set a standard for best practice, you know, for integrity, you know, for accountability. That's the reason why Ellen Johnson instituted that, headed by his late, may his soul rest in peace, Dr. Amos Sawyer, to begin with. So the institutions are there. There are rules on the books. The problem is adhering to those rules, following those rules. And so, Mr. Cummings say he comes, for me, they let, what do you call it? The Good Governance Commission, and that's why they call it Good Governance Commission. But I was listening to one of the engagement at some point, I'm even told that the very commission that should be setting good example had issues with corruption. You know, they took people vehicle that they should have used and turned them over. I listened to them at the legislature. People accusing them for taking things that they shouldn't take. So they're not even setting the right example. The problem here is there's no check and balance. The problem is people don't know we have a government. There are some good individuals. There are a few good individuals, don't get me wrong, in any institution or in any or establishment. But the people that actually make the decision, the people that run the country, the people that are there for the day-to-day, who will say daybreak, even if it's dark, everybody say yes, daybreak. They don't care. So we have to probably pray, like Cummings always said, we cannot keep doing the same thing and accept different results. Now, we are overwhelmingly saying, well, you know what? Whether you know book or whether you done the right thing or whether we go to school, we didn't go to school, whether we got roles, we didn't get anything, we eat or we don't eat, what's the offer for you? So the challenge is in all of our own hands. What are we doing to change this process? Are we educating our people effectively? You can only hear politics and noise when it's election in 18 months or 15 months. Right after election, everybody forget. Nobody go out there to educate the people. Say, look, this is where you are. Every time, this is what is supposed to happen. Educate the people to understand what their right entitlement is. Because most people don't even know in Liberia. You'll be surprised to know that people don't care. They don't know what is entitled.
It's important. Yeah. Look at it this way. Do you know the reason why our politicians do not want to educate the voters? To know their rights. And the reason is simple. Because if you make these people to know what they are entitled to, the next time we come to them, they will say, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this commitment. And like I always say, the voters are like elephants. Very heavy, very, very heavy, but they do know their own weights because they carry their own weight. You see? No. So now elections are coming, right? You're going to see our politicians becoming so good to the people, becoming so very friendly. They'll be visiting them. But the moment they get a vote, you can go on your own and you come back. And the reason is that they have established, that norm over the years where they come to a vote, people come and sell their vote for little money, some rice and whatever and go. And the reason why the people do that too, you don't blame them. Like you said rightly, they don't know their rights, one. And two, they do that because that's the only time they can get something from the politicians too. Instead of going to vote for nothing, let me get $5. Because in any case, they will still be compared to vote. They are citizens, right? So, so here we are. Paul, you got anything to add?
Yeah, the thing is, we just get a bar country with bar actors in the country. That's how I see it. We look at Rwanda. Look at Sierra Leone next door. We just get bar actors. That's all. Now, we got a unique system that when one is not functioning, the other should function. But all of the system that we have is just bar. What become of the fourth estate? When the bar guys not doing work, the fourth estate, what their role is there for? They're supposed to open people out. They just as bar as the main actors. So we just have a very bad situation that we're in. That's
sorry, Paul. Yeah,
look at it that way. The executive not doing that work, you get the legislatures. If they're not doing that work, you get a judiciary. Then you have the fourth estate. All four come together just bar for the country. They just bar. So why is it the fourth estate cannot educate the people? Say no, this is how you go to vote. What's wrong with that?
I would blame all of us. Being honest with you. I know we pointing fingers at government because these guys don't care. They have an agenda to follow through. But it is coming to a point where I strongly believe that Liberians in the diaspora, we need to not necessarily run when it's about politics or supporting a particular candidate, but we need to begin to see how we can engage our people. We need to begin to think about how we can actually help educate our people, even if it's periodically, maybe every year, if it's 2-3 months, that organized set of Liberians from the diaspora will be able to go home and do something in terms of educating our people, pushing agendas that will bring our people to understanding. Because, it's sad. And sometimes the problem is I know it's a huge problem because the population the population proportion of Liberians that are actually educated, that will be able to analyze situation, very, 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 very huge. You look from when, for example, when this war started, children that were born from 1990, call it 1989, they are the voters today. Yeah. Neither of these children have had any good education. A child that was born in 1989, up to now, they are in their early 30s. These are the people making decisions. That whole generation is lost. So it has to take someone with a good mindset to say, you know what, we're going to help this lost generation to see how we can even train them, you know, to go about their daily lives, to be able to help them, contribute, to make them to understand that it's all not about just running around and doing things. You hear people they don't care because they don't have any background, any foundation to help them. Now, besides people that were born in the 90s, today, children that are even born now, the educational system we had before is nowhere in Liberia. People don't care. Most people in government have all their children abroad. Not everyone, but most people. So they don't care about the man on the farm who's going to have their child today. There's no hope for them. So those people who are having children now in Liberia, maybe in the interior and what have you, they're just preparing people that will be there to go and cast vote for them and go back on the farm. So there's no hope to say, well, you know what? My child has a future in Liberia. No, because the more these people stay without education, they all, you know, die.
We've had similar discussions here and, you know, mixed views on that. The thing is, you're making a very good proposal where our quote unquote lost generation, that's a whole generation. That creates a gap, generational gap between people, pre-war people and post-war people, and even another group of post-war people, because like you rightly said, the children born 1989, 1990, all the way to the early 2000s. There are same people having children right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And they are the decision makers right now. And what significant thing are they passing on to their children for tomorrow? Now, but the question here is, these people, this group that we are talking about, they are very important. They are very important. But are they willing to learn? Because some of them, you try to explain to them, their minds are totally lost. They focus only one way. Like you are talking about, you earlier mentioned about, you know, the younger generation. All they know, the guys work selling in the street. When you do interviews with them, all they will say, yeah, we want Georgia. Because what? Some of them say, oh, Georgia build fine houses. That's all they know. Okay. So,
he played football.
Yeah. So
because they left football.
Look at the road, the may build road. And they got no reference point. Not like you and I who came from the 70s, we saw what Liberia was. So there's a reference point for us, what it was before and what is now. They got no reference point. So what they see now is what they know. Okay. And so to get them, that's a huge Herculean task to get these people to confront their mind. It's like, I mean, I'm a very strong Christian, and then one Muslim guy or Buddhist come and say, come and be Buddhist, it will be difficult, but it can happen though. But that's a huge task.
That's where our leaders come in. If we have our leaders who care about this country, who care about these people, the first thing they're supposed to begin to do is start programs. These people still need to continuously be rehabilitated. These people are not still rehabilitated. They don't know. That whole generation, you can't, if you tell them come and get a job, they can't do the job effectively. Even those of them that fought high went to universities. Some of them, you tell them write a fitting paragraph, they can. And then the people that come to power use that as an excuse. So the man can't even write a fitting letter. How am I going to put them in the office? People you see in positions are because of political reason. And unless somebody say, oh yeah, that man was saying sekwe, and we in power now, okay, let's just get a man something. So they don't care about anything. Now, we have to, like you talk about Christian, Buddhist, or Muslim, I think we've got to begin to pray. I don't know, because maybe the only prayer will help us right now to say, Lord, where are we going? Do we find somebody who actually care about Liberia, who care about these people? Because they are human beings. They're people, the whole generation, the whole set Because all of us going to go look at the age now. Look at Amos Sawyer, the Bacchus, and all of the old guys. All of them going now. All the Moja group. You know, all of these guys vanishing. Even if some of them living now, they don't have the strength like you and me.
No.
It's you and I, our generation coming out to be able to work hard to move that country. After our generation, the group should be that group that we're talking about. And are they prepared? Are we doing anything to help prepare them? Are we going to have aliens to come and run Liberia? But there's no succession planning because people feel that they will never die when they're in power. They just stay there and don't care. Think about now and today. People who are thinking about tomorrow and generations unborn will always plan. Well, you tell me, man, you know, you tell me what they plan. Another sad situation I noticed, go to Liberia right now, which is a weakness. People who don't have money, these guys who sell or they have the basic go buy, they will have to buy petrol. They want to call their family member to buy their scratch card. People who we work hard, the people work hard and pay taxes and they get thousands every month. They get them free gas. They get them free scratch card. They get them free this. So why that money could not go back to this? Why are people able to buy 10 scratch card? They can fill out their gas with their tank with anything and go anywhere. But how wicked? They will take that money, they call it gas slip, they call it this and that. When other people cannot even get 10 cents to be able to do that, they can't afford. If they want to buy that gas, then they're like, what's salary going? So these are reforms that people are supposed to look at. The legislators would begin to look at these things. How can we save money here and post on that money? You put all that scratch card, gasoline on a road project or educational fund or agriculture. See what we're going to produce from it. But no, nobody cares. Everybody wants to have it free. And the other people who don't have continue to remain down.
You know,
I see Paul is very uneasy in the seat.
Yeah, Prince, you're right. When I said earlier on, said we have a lot of bad actors in the country. There are a handful of bad actors. But before I come back to the bad actor, there's not only one generation, lost generation, it's two.
Okay.
And what I mean by two?
Yeah.
Before the war,
yeah,
I'm coming from myself in another generation. Before the war,
yeah,
those that left Liberia for scholarship.
Yeah.
That were going to study and return.
Yeah.
That group, it was the group that saw the coup.
Yeah.
That group, it was unsettled when it left. That group came overseas. Behind them, Civil War broke out. That group could not go back.
No.
So they in Liberia, they classify them, oh, you don't know Liberian politics. As long as you want to educate them. So it means you're not fit in our society. That's another group. Then you have the group that were born in it. They don't know better, so people say. So you got that two group of people. Then the other group, the third group, the bad actors that stay in there became rich overnight. That group refused for any of the two to come in. So this is where Liberia we stuck with the bad actors. The ones that want to come in now, that's where Mr. Cummings come from because he was not there when the war started. They see him as threat. Then you have the other group who now the young people trying to come, they're stopping them. So we have a situation recent time that people waiting to listen and learn. Darren DeLong, he showed that it can happen. You can educate the common man on the street with a good message. But what happened now? They classify him as light. He went in there. He became the Chinese light now. The children going back to who do we listen to now? So there's a situation we're faced with. So I don't know.
Because it's institutional. You see, Darius DeLong, all of us were happy that we can have a Darius who comes from nowhere. Even me. Let me go back to President Weah before I come to this. When I saw during the last campaign, I saw President Weah sat down on the ground, on the floor, without shoes, from West Houston. You know, I cried. I totally shed tears. And when he was elected president, I look at that picture. President Weah wearing tight trousers, sitting down on the ground, no shoes, in from West Houston High School. it told me that these are the people. This is someone who will resonate with the ordinary Liberian, who knows what it means not to have, who knows how difficult it is to be able to get cool rest to eat before you get out and go to school. You won't even get shoes to go to school. When you get in the classroom, your friend are looking because your uniform tear on the other side. That's why some of us were thinking. I didn't support President Weah to say, oh, yeah, you will go, because I felt the challenge was big for him. But when the Liberian people decided, I felt great. This is someone who's come from nowhere. Besides the football film, he would have tried, even if he don't know the English, he would tell whoever writing a book in a little broken English, say, this is what I want. I want us to put money in the broken Liberian way to school, to help people to go to school where they don't get way to go to school, to help people to be able to get food to eat. Because I know how hard it is. You got to work hard to get cool rest to eat, and we can't be begging for this. How difficult it is for us to do. These were things some of us were really expecting that President we are will focus.
So Prince,
disappointingly.
Can we just on the average say that President Weah actually failed the people?
Oh yeah, for me, I would say he failed miserably, and I'm worried right now. Wow. You understand? Well, I'm worried because the Liberian people still like Josh Weah, from what I can see from outside. And the first 6 years he had in power, I think that was the time he was supposed to begin to show the Liberian people what he could do and how he's going to do it. But if the first 6 years, he started building mansions for himself, he started building place for a yacht to be able to park and where he would drive to go to the mansion. He wearing shoes that are $10,000 from what people say. And majority of the people that were like him still sitting down on the ground. Some of them can't even go to school because they can't afford to pay their school fee. Some of them can't even afford to walk to school. And he's there driving Hummer, buying car that will put a name on it. Each of those cars could do a lot of things. I'm worried if the Liberian people put that man there again for the next 6 years, which is more likely, what else going to stay? I think when I came to Liberia, I was sad. It was saddening to know that from Vietown to go to Brewerville, because I lived in Brewerville then from then. The road that I saw there is like since they killed Samuel Doe, nobody now put nothing on our road. Everything was bad. I went to Freeport, the truck that take the container. Nobody thinking about health and safety. They were all linking like this. And that's where they're getting millions from. And nobody even thinking about how they're going to put some of that money there to fix that place so that it will minimize accident. The fence was still bad. I'm not sure they've ever painted it. And if you look at how much money they're taking from these places. So for me, it was disappointing.
So
and we could have done more.
In reality, Sanctions could be the one that will deter some of them from what they're doing, because if you call somebody name, say Samuel Tua Abenpo Sanctions, or Joel Howard Taylor Abenpo Sanctions, what does that do to them in the campaign time? That's a setting point. These are that's look at it, because
I know it will be, but is it going to happen? That's the question we need to ask ourselves.
That's the $1 million question we all
is it going to happen? No.
Because it took one person who is not a Liberian to say your street dirty. When the Europeans started, the Americans started. It just took them, it became issue. So you live in a place that is dirty, you don't know it's dirty. Somebody got to come from outside your country to tell you how dirty you are.
Liberia is small, right? You know, Paul. One city in this country, the budget for one city is more than the Liberian annual budget. And you understand? Liberia is a small country. We got huge, huge resources. All Liberia needs is good management. If we have good management, everybody, in this country, Great Britain here, they get iron ore here, they get diamond here, they get gold here, they get eventually nothing. We're living on services.
My man.
And good governance.
The people even when they stole rock from Gibraltar and brought it, that's just rock. They don't have nothing.
Nothing yet. But the people here they pay you when you don't even have a job.
Yeah.
You get paid until you get job. Liberia, when we got forest, right now, you know how much money Norway is giving for Liberia forest just to protect our own forest. Huge money goes to Liberia, to the Liberian budget for it.
My brother,
do they put that money there?
My immediate brother works with that project, and so I tried to explain to him. No, I tell him, the reason why the Norwegians will have to leave their own country to come there to protect those forests, those trees in the forest and the animals, because we don't have them here, and they know the value of it.
Yes.
So let me just make a quick joke. Take all the people from Liberia and bring them to the UK. And take all the people from UK and carry them to Liberia. In 1 month time, Liberia will be like UK, and the UK will be like Liberia. Trust me. This thing, I think it's just part of us. So it takes me time. It takes me time. Every time I go to Liberia, it takes me time, the first 2, 3, 4 days, for me to get used to how the people think, the way of thinking, and the way they do things. And then I ask myself, when we were all here, is this the way we used to do things?
It's a shame, though.
No. Again, it's not too late. If we can our leaders can make a difference. And every time, the first time I went, I stopped at my brother's house. And I noticed one thing. My brother in the community had electricity because the guy who runs the generator thing, keeps his thing in his household. He had, using that privilege to give him electricity all the time.
Yeah.
So he sells cold water. And guess what? When people come and buy the cold water, they pause it, drink it, and drop it plastic. So this afternoon, I was sitting there, the plastic, it was windy a little bit. The plastic just flying, crisscross, all over the place, Someone passing between my leg. So I started for long and said, well, so what's going on? So I slept. The next morning, early in the morning, I changed some money. I put plenty of money on the table. Early in the morning, I was sitting down. Oh, sir. So all the children woke up when they passing, they see the money. Then the woman they passing with a donor. They had telling them they want to eat donor. So I said, okay, who all want to eat donor? They said, me. I said, okay, call all your friends. They can't pour enough donor for them. Then I said, you know what happened? Woman, you still get donor? She said, if but I can go Mason. I said, okay, go Mason, you bring it. We still get time when you make it, bring it here. So I told all the children, I said, anybody get digger or what? They say, what will do? I say, you just go bring digger, anything you can bring that can dig hole. I said, small girl, small boy, everybody start digging the hole. They said, but Papa, what will do in the hole? I said, oh, yeah, dig it. So I want a guy in the hole. I said, okay, now reach almost to my thigh, right? Now your ear do not, then I'll tell you what to do. After that, I told them, so everybody, you collect all the plastic bed there. They started doing it, all the children were happy. And then the old man there too. Then they say, hey, my brother, if you're here, it will be okay. And can you imagine? The 2 weeks I spent there, every morning, the children will go pick one plastic from way on the other side, bring it, say, Papa, I get one plastic to that, say, yeah, driving the hole. At the end, we'll point it. You see, so if Monrovia is littered with garbage, I was coming from the Freeport, right to the new bridge there, the new and the Chinese bridge, and both are new now. Can you imagine? I saw it there, I couldn't believe it. It was a mountain. Yes. But again, this is the kind of place we find ourselves. Our listeners, our viewers, if you just join us, this is the bottom line here. We discuss the issue that make news in Liberia and all about Liberia. And you can call us on the number on the screen. If you call them anywhere from around the UK, wherever, just dial +47. And this is a WhatsApp number, so you can call it from anywhere in the world. And Paul, I think we've dealt enough with the sanction thing, and we're hoping that the sanctions can come. Even if it doesn't stop corruption, it will help to minimize. Because you know what? Let's say new government coming. We are on the heels of elections right now. So if the present officials of government are sanctioned and really feeling the pinch of the sanction, people who will come in a new government, I am sure, even though that human life, but somebody will say, look at the other people, what they did to them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be part of it. So it may help to minimize. Corruption can finish, especially in a poor country like Liberia. Okay.
There's something the bar authors are around, they're making their case. I was opportune to listen to Spoon last night. Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson, who served during a trouble time, he served Doe, he served Taylor, he even served the Ellen. And he's bringing a division about a group of people now want to come and bringing the American Liberia into picture. That Right. So if I listen to this guy and seeing that people like Mariah Kula is going to university and all that, they are the elite. But Samuel Jackson just graduated from London School of Economics. Isn't that where elite send their children?
I
So
know.
he making the case that people going sending their children to schools to better off themselves. So now the elite, because he was going after comments that this guy managed to earn so much, he's an elite. But wait, Samuel Jackson, you were there. You were with Turbo. You were the young progressive with Turbo. You were the Barker Mafia yourself with Dole. When doing the PRC, when they took over, you were behind door with arms in your hand. Yourself. You came to the Charles Taylor, you are going around the world. What the spokesperson for Charles Taylor. Yourself. Honor Ellen yourself in the ministry. Today, you see some of the, that's what I'm saying, the bad actors refuse for that country to change. He's nearly 70 years old. He's still preaching for the country to remain bad. What can we do? What can we do? So I think when the U.S. come up with sanctions, it will be an eye-opening for a lot of Liberians to say, oh, so the big brother has spoken. These are the bad actors. It could be safer than now, which will help Liberia. Then it will help the other group that will come in to say, wait a minute, I'm not going to get on those people's list. Something have to start from somewhere.
Do we have to do anything to push the U.S. government or Western governments to be able to do these things? So that's those are questions.
Right. I tell you something. There was in his statement, he said something fundamental. The power is inherent in the people. The people of Liberia, you do something, not us, but we're just telling you. So it's us, Liberian. We need to do something. And that's why he was saying, he quoted the first paragraph of the Constitution. Say, your Constitution say the power is inherent in you. These bad actors, do something about them. That's what he was saying in reality. So yes, it left with us. How to bring this guy? Because the thing just going bad.
But one of the things that we have to look at is because there's no system and people are afraid in Liberia, people who will want to be vocal, you soon or later notice that they disappear. They disappear. I was, I was shocked. A friend was telling me about the death of Reverend Talbot, how he died. And it's unconfirmed. I was told clearly that some big people in government were criticized in their presence. They told them that they were misleading the president. And the next week, he got butchered.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and these people know themselves if they get to listen to this kind of thing. I'm not calling names, but they know whatever they've done. They got their death squad. So, and this guy was only wanting to be honest with the president. I'm sure the president asked him to give feedback on what he was doing, what he thought the Liberian people think about him. And he said, being honest, Mr. President, the Liberian people like you, but they are getting fed up with you. They are getting angry with you because they are suffering. And this president said, no, that's a lie. The people like you. See, anytime you go anywhere, everybody say, yeah, you're doing well. They put enjoying. So the president once said, look, don't listen to these kind of people you got around you because they're misleading you. The Liberian people, this. So it was like a tussle from the source that got this information from. The following week, that guy disappeared. And today they wouldn't even know who butchered him.
Yeah.
So that's another issue that people are afraid to talk, to speak out.
It's true. So the 1980s has surfaced around Liberia again because that was the 1980s. So when you became some kind of voice, the death squad went after you.
Yeah, I was shocked when I heard that.
We have a democracy in 1980, I appear, but that wouldn't surprise me because some of the advisors in the 1980 now advisor to the present government. So it wouldn't surprise me at all. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Liberia need to do something. I mean, it's a sad situation we face with, but then they still have people in Liberia that when you speak to them, they will tell you, say, look, I'm not talking. Come 2023, and that's what they say. Come 2023.
Yeah.
They have those diehard people that will say, oh, no matter what, we continue with these guys. Look, I was in the 72nd area last month, and this guy called Thomas Fowler, he have a university over there. He
Yeah.
have a school. So Tifa, this is interesting. He was a plank setter, right?
Yeah.
He came to government. And while in government today, the guy he's a billionaire, just being in government. So he built a university, and kids around there keep chanting Tifa. So I had a discussion with a few young people. Say, look, if this guy leave government tomorrow,
Yeah.
you gonna go to school, and then you're gonna go to that university and pay him. The man gonna live forever. He and his great grandchildren, they're not gonna suffer anymore. But you praising him, have your life. You and some of the kids that I was talking to, they were in our teams.
Yeah.
So think only that you're gonna be in a situation that man you advocating for, he's already solid. What have he done for the community?
But if you don't even have foundation, Paul, how can you build university when you don't have primary school?
Thank you.
Good foundation, because the foundation, to be able to go to university, you must have good primary education.
Thank you.
But if you don't have primary, secondary education, you're just a lost person.
I was in a conversation somewhere on one talk show, and somebody was arguing that it's necessary to have universities now than primary education. And the person's reason was that you don't know for sure that the primary education that you're going to invest in now heavily, you don't know that the students that are going there will even have a chance to enter a junior high school or high school. Some of them might want to drop. And so the people now that we got that have come from high school, it's better to educate them at the university level. But my argument
why would they drop?
Yeah.
Why would make them drop? Because clearly, if you don't, I don't know what our person was thinking about, but if you say a child will not want to go to primary school, then something must be wrong. Why would they not want to go? If you put all the incentives into primary education, because that's the bedrock. The saying goes, even the Bible says, the foundation of the house is the cornerstone. If you can't build a strong foundation, you build a foundation on the sand, on the beach, it's gonna be blown away. So I strongly believe that if they invest into primary education, make it incentivize it, they get people trained, teachers trained to be able to deliver that. Make sure children go to school, they can have food to eat in school, and they can go to school free. And it's compulsory that you go. If you don't pass, you're not going to junior high, you're not going to university. So what would make them not want to go? What would make them not want to build a foundation which is free, which has incentive? You can make sure you go to school. Even the uniform that you want them to wear, you could even provide that. And there's money to do all of that. Make sure you get library that the children can go to. They go to school and stay there until in the afternoon before they get home. When they get home, they're tired to go study and go to bed. Just do the foundation, and then you can gradually build up. But if you're not doing any of these things, how are you going to do that?
We're in a serious situation. I don't know how we get out. And you said prayer, but then equally so in the Bible said God made man in his own image. So in reality, we God. So we pray to ourselves, we're not getting it right. So what's
because we're sinning. we are sinning. That's why every day we're sinning. We want to pray. We're sinning. No, I had to say prayer because you know what? Sometimes when you find yourself in a state where you can't find an answer, you just have to say something that it is. Because even the Bible says, or I'm sure the Quran may have said the same, faith without work is dead.
It's dead. It's dead faith.
Yeah.
It's dead. Yeah. So we can have all the faith. We can do all the prayers. If we don't put that to work, we don't say this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to start now. It's rubbish. we're going nowhere.
Okay, guys.
So
I think we've gone far
Yep.
now, but I wanted us to look at some of what appears in the newspapers in Monrovia. I've
okay.
really wanted to share it on the screen so that everybody will read, but it's kind of difficult. But I will just read from my phone here because I tried many times. If you see me silent, that's what I'm trying to do. But technology is kind of the New Dawn newspaper says. Um, the US government reaffirms support
Mhm.
to the media. And I heard you guys talk about the failure of, especially Paul, the failure of the media,
Mhm.
in disseminating information the way it should be. Now, but here is the U.S. government trying to uh, support them again.
Yeah.
Do you think any support from the U.S. government in the media? I work in the media and I know what we used to get from the U.S. Okay,
Mhm.
through USAID. But do you think anything like that will help improve the kind of thing we have in Liberia now? Because according kind of thing, when I went to when I entered the journalism profession, it was
Mhm.
even more difficult to enter, to even hold a microphone. Those days it was difficult. Let alone to
Yeah.
say you enter studio to sit behind the microphone. We
Yeah.
struggled. But here you got everybody with cell phone going all around. They are journalists. So do you think any support, any amount of support will make any difference for the press?
Well, the thing is, any support is always necessary. But in Liberia, now come back to what I was saying about the bad actors. The bad actors own the institution. They own all the media platform. They own the newspaper. So you can put money there. The bad actor will tell the guy, this is how I want my institution to run. This is where we're struggling with. How do we get? I remember in the old days, remember we had a tyrant government. If you remember the guy they called it was Steve, is that Steve McConnell and those guys, those old journalists, they were not afraid. Those guys were not afraid. They could say, and then they had the press union of Liberia that was not afraid to say what, but the press union now, it's like they bought. Because that's where, if you found in a press union, they should be independent. They should be able to want to critique anyone. But Prince Reddy said people afraid.
Mm-hmm.
People
Four
are
auditors get
afraid.
missing,
Yeah.
get killed, and nothing happened. You
So
think
you will
one
put
more
money,
journalist?
you will put money
So
there.
the situation that we don't have a truly independent press
Yeah.
because journalists will have to get accreditation. They will have to do a number of things. When you become critical, it's an issue. And how many people have access to media? Even look, for example, in developed countries, people make sure that there is a way for you to get news. The
Yeah.
government wants to make sure you get news. Yeah, you get free newspapers you can get, but you can't find any of that in Liberia because clearly people don't even want you to know certain things. If
Yep.
you're going to know, you got to
Yeah,
know, or you got to tell people what you want them to hear, not what they
that's
want to hear, or
that's
not what is
right
really
there.
happening. Yeah.
That's right there.
So it's challenging. These things are doable, and that's the way forward. But unless we have a government that is going to be a responsible government, a government that will say, "I'm here for the people because they brought me here," and a government that has an agenda, for development, a government that will be concerned about everybody, not just a select few. A government for all, then you will begin to see most of these. But
So
until
Okay.
we see
so
that,
so 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 this is why I say the failure of the full estate comes in. Because what happened, you're gonna have over 20 people coming up to say, oh, they're gonna bring this, bring that to do. And the full estate should be the one to actually critique these people and say, look, to the nation, Paul say he intend to run. He want to build hospital. How is he going to do it? You check me. Where am I going to get the money from? And then tell the person, I think this man, he just talking. They do it here all the time. The journalists will tell you, say, oh, the conservative want to do this, but we don't know how, where that money going to come from. So they start questioning you how and when. But in our case, no. So if we're not educating the minds of the people, we're in serious trouble. And I tell you, some guys, people, many people in Liberia, this thing is funny. I keep saying it. I met this guy who worked in the health sector for many years. But then when he did a harmonization in Liberia recent time, he was earning $100. When he cut his money, the guy barely had $60. So he left to go start selling and medicine that he was getting from somewhere. So going around selling. And luckily for me, I ran into this guy. So we got into the little political discussion. This guy leave his house 8 o'clock in the morning. He goes back home by 7, eat something and go to bed, get ready. He doesn't listen to radio, anything. So when he's walking around, he get head news from what people say on the street.
Yeah.
That's how he go about making his decision. So I was just asking the guy about the political actors in the country. I mean, I met this guy in Wheeler, and he said, oh, you see, Dr. said this guy, he bald-headed cutter and thing, and this guy seemed to be this big guy coming to Liberia to redeem people. So he does not know Dr. Cassette, but because he going around the news about the man-headed cutter, the government see this guy bringing money, so he was going with this story. I said, but this Cassette may ever heard anything about him, what he going to do to change your life, or how you going to stop selling these drugs to go back into your career? The guy had no clue.
Yeah,
Because
education.
people are not being educated. So the fact is they say the wrong way. So if people are telling people, say, look, these are people you need to watch out for, that news spread. But the fourth estate not doing it. Then the bar are encouraging it. Then the people who want to say, you just coming, man, you understand Liberian politics, so you have nothing to say. So we are doomed from the way I see it.
Well,
yeah.
quickly,
Your question was whether there's a need for support. Definitely, there is a need for support to the fourth estate. But what I think is needed most is being able to sponsor or fund an independent press. But that, I mean, back in the days, you had Radio Veritas, for example, the Catholic station. Definitely, they will say what they wanted to say. Even Charles Taylor or Samuel Doe, they will do nothing. They will get vexed. You have Kofi Wooden talking, they will be there, criticize the government. And those times, those guys will go to say what they want to say, even though they were scared. But there were things that they couldn't do. So if we're going to have an institution right now that is going to help, and which is really needed, a fourth estate institution, get a radio station, get TV. I heard somebody talking about TV. I don't even know how many people can afford to watch TV in Liberia. Okay, how many people? Yeah, nothing. So it's hard. It's difficult, and these guys deliberately make situation difficult because they know if all of these things are fine, everybody can watch the news, everybody can watch TV and have radios and can do things, can have access to the newspaper, they'll get more and more to know. They'll begin to analyze or look at facts from fiction.
That's right.
So nobody wants to do that, So it's a difficult thing. So there's a need for support. But can you have an independent press? That's the question.
In a nutshell, our time is fast spent. Just 1 minute each. There is this last one, where in the Inquirer newspaper, where Mr. McCarthy, the ambassador from the US in Liberia, accredited near Monrovia, was seen at the foreign ministry recently after he made his statement. Now, in the public, he was seen in public there at the foreign ministry, and people are wondering, was he summoned by the government of Liberia? Why is it that right after the controversial statement, he was seen at the foreign ministry. The story is actually about, like, it's in
He
question.
could not have been summoned. My guess would be that he had to go as a follow-up to make them understand that the statement he made, he's serious. And those individuals responsible are at that very foreign ministry. So they need to take heed, and a hint to a wise is quite sufficient. And I think that's why he went there for.
Yeah.
Paul, you concur?
Yes.
Yes. The thing is, if I'm giving you money, I'm paying you salary, I would tell you the way I want to tell you because I pay you. You depend on them. So they can tell you anything they want to tell you. So the guy went by and said, I gave your money, we're coming back. There's more. Get your act together. All right, I gave you an example. Yeah. I own a shop. These guys work for me in the shop. Everybody come to work, they say, boss man. They see something wrong, they scared to talk because I pay them salary. And then if I don't like your tone, I said, "Do you fire?" Because in Liberia, no labor laws.
No suspension, only firing.
You fire. So you scared to talk. Because I pay you, I can say anything I want to say to you. That's the situation with Mr. McCarthy. They gave them money. The money they gave us small money. That is taxpayer money. $110 million a year. Then you get $79 million going on
the health sector.
On health sector. That lot of money, so they can tell them any way they want to tell them. That warning, and the warning, it keep coming. They keep coming. They will go for them. So yes.
Okay. So guys, I don't know what to say, but I think the discussion was very splendid, and it was to the point, and very big thanks to Prince Taylor. Prince, let me assure you, this is not the last time we are here. We're going to always have you, and it's so good that you are from Liberia presently, where we got internet problems. We'll be coming on and off.
Okay.
That's why. So now we got a lot of people from Liberia to talk to, but the problem is low current, and then it will be on, and the show will go off. But at least it was good that we actually discussed the issue tonight. And Paul, of course, I cannot tell you thank you because it is you and I who are the engines of the program, or engineer the program, you put it that way. So we will always be here, and thanks to our viewers. After this show, if you missed it, you can go on our platform to watch it. You can go to YouTube, bottom line, Liberia, and watch it, and you'll have enough time to comment and whatever. And we appreciate some of your comments always.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use this time to say
also, as the show go on, it's also air on Borderline Radio, online radio as well.
Yes.
So it's aired, and then we're trying to make it more interactive, so people who miss it, they can always come by, or while driving, you can listen to the program. So yeah, Prince, it's good to have you, and
thank you.
It's
a pleasure,
because we need to do more. And we're talking about the media estate, although we don't have media background apart from LIFO. But we can do something, and we can start educating people in Liberia. Look, these are the guys you need to watch for. Listen to the message they bring in. Don't be fooled by Kue Water or by Father or by Kobo. Follow the person who will help you and hold that person feet to fire if they don't deliver. I think we need to do something. So it was a great show.
It was lovely being on myself. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm hopeful that in time to come we will be able to contribute to thought-provoking topics that we can look up and see how we can specifically contribute to that. So it's been useful being around. Thanks so very much.
Okay. Well, that was Mr. Prince Taylor, there from the UK, and of course Paul is also in the UK. And Paul, we like to say thanks to our viewers, and this is how we like to leave all of you. Got anything to say, Paul?
Well, I just wanted to say today was not a good day in my life. Today is brought bad memories. It's the day that my mother passed. She been
Oh,
for 4 years now since she departed, so it was kind of sad day for me. But the show brought little life in me, and I got most of my inspiration through her. So I was just sad today to say yes. I thought on her, and miss her soul rest in peace. Continue to rest in peace. Yeah.
on behalf of the Bottom Line team, or Jamal, Antrik, and myself, we like to extend our deepest sympathy and condolences to you. And of course, this is something that we cannot get used to.
That's right.
Um, I lost my father almost coming 8 years now, so it's hard to get used to. But this is life, and nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So our condolences to you, and take heart and be strong. And so, folks, this is how we let you leave you. May God bless you, and please join us on Tuesday. We'll be here with fresh edition of the program. But before we leave you,